So I'm going to edit that part out. So, hey, welcome to Scratch This Games Podcast 3.
Episode 3, we made it.
We made a 3-peat.
Yep.
Unlike the Heat.
This is the one where Jordan finally turns to the dark side.
Yes.
What? Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thanks for watching the other 2 episodes. You've seen stuff. We have things that are in the works, episodes of things and stuff, and shenanigans.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were just talking about Murdered Soul Suspect, and how I think that game is really awesome and totally fucking underrated.
I want to play it.
Yeah.
I really want to play it.
It's a lot of fun. The whole, point of the game, you play a guy, he dies, you fucking try to figure out your whole murder and everything, and it's really interesting. It's just one of those games that, I think is really cool, and it's a shame that a company makes a really awesome game that's kind of new and kind of going into a different direction than everything else you're playing, and, people who don't understand it just all of a sudden call it shit and then no one ever plays it.
Yeah.
It's a real shame. Especially nowadays when everything is so fucking cookie cutter and lame.
Yeah.
What I've heard of the game, because I'm aware that the gameplay itself is very just sort of kind of adventure mystery.
Yeah, it's essentially a point and click game.
Yeah.
Essentially. Except for giving demons wedgies.
Right.
It's the only combat in the game.
That's pretty awesome.
The premise reminds me a lot of this GameCube game. It was a shooter called Geist. And while the gameplay is totally different, because Geist is obviously a shooter, there's that supernatural element to it where you're dead, and now in death you're trying to interact with the physical world and change things.
Yeah. Well, the thing I like about the game is they take a lot of care to the world you're in, because you can get into characters' heads, you can possess anybody, but you can't you can't necessarily manipulate anyone for no reason.
Right.
Which is some things I've seen reviewers complain about it, where they're like, "Oh, if I can only possess and interact with one person, I should be able to do it with everybody." But there's really no need to. So it's why are you complaining about a feature that is, not necessary?
That's kind of like saying, "Oh, I'm playing Hitman and I don't know who to kill, so I'm killing everybody and I'm having a bad experience." You're playing Hitman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you can read people's minds. You can read anyone's mind, and the fun thing is you just hear this really sometimes very intriguing dialogue, and then just the random extremely self-centered attitude of people in their inner thoughts, which is kind of fun. There were these 3 people who were trying to ask a police officer in a apartment complex, what's going on, why is this area roped off, do you guys know where the killer is, these are what they're asking in general. And then you can mind read everybody, and you mind read the other cop, and the other cop's why is this guy being such a hard ass, just tell these people what's going on so they can feel safe and go back home or whatever. And then you're in the dickhead cop's mind, and he's oh, I just wish these people would get the hell out of here, and he's having that mindset. And then you go into one of the girls, and the girl's oh, I really don't feel safe, blah, blah, blah. And then you go into this other guy's head, and he's man, I never know when to ask a question that doesn't seem cliche. It's you get the random one, where it's oh, he was saying that, and then he was man, so-and-so really asks good questions. I wish I could think like that.
Yeah.
She's a really awesome person. And it's random dialogue that I really like. Especially in a game where you're meant to be involved with a lot of the world.
Yeah.
It's just really fun to they took some care into writing a lot of what's going on, and the voice acting's really good too.
Yeah.
It's something I really like.
You're probably gonna redbox it.
Yeah, that's what I did. I redboxed it on 360. I mean, it runs like a fucking abused asshole on 360. Just really, really shaky. A lot of frame drops.
Right.
Really bad frame rate.
Yeah.
It's a prolapsed asshole. That's how it runs on the Xbox 360.
What's funny though is that's actually one thing I've noticed about Watch Dogs. There's lots of parts in the game where you brush by people and you hear random conversations, or there's puzzles in the game that when you solve the puzzle, it puts you through to a feed of someone in a room doing something crazy or weird or just obscure, random stuff that has nothing to do with the game necessarily. Sometimes they'll have main characters that you see and hear. They're doing things that are completely different from what you're supposed to be doing in the game. But there was like one where you go into this live feed and it's a dude who's spoiler alert.
Okay.
Because this is it's not necessary to beat the game. It's just something stupid.
Continue.
So I needed to warn you just in case.
I'm never gonna play. It's a Watch Dogs.
You do this feed, and while you're watching this guy, he's in his apartment. By the window, he has a telescope and binoculars, and he's spying on everybody in the building across from him.
Like Rear Window.
And he's taking down notes.
Spoiler alert! If you've never seen Rear Window.
Yeah, but he's taking down notes, and he's going crazy. And he's wait.
The main character hacks the corn by the end of the game.
Pop. But yeah, it ends off there's time limits or whatever for how long you're in the feed. It ends with the guy going, "What the fuck is that?" And then your connection's basically cut off. You can't stay any longer. With each one of these, it shows you a timer at a certain point. It's like, oh, intrusion detected, and it's counting down. And right as it gets to 0, it boots you out. It does it automatically.
You know the Deus Ex. The Deus Ex, because that's the only one I really played. The Deus Ex, which, to be fair, I heard Human Revolution was pretty good, but I still,
it could have been less heavy on combat.
Right.
I want to play it.
Which I don't get. Well, say your thing, and then
yes.
I got something to say.
I was going to say, I remember the hacking in that game. Up until a certain skill level in hacking, you would have a time limit before whatever system you're hacking would lock you out. And sometimes, if you fucked up real bad, if you timed out when you were hacking an alarm system or something, the alarms would go off, and then people with guns would come to put them in you.
And that was taken in the Fallout series, and a couple other games took that hacking mechanic. BioShock had something similar.
Yeah.
If you messed up,
I don't even know if Deus Ex originated. I kind of think it probably didn't. But
yeah, I don't think it did.
I'm not confident enough in my knowledge to say yes or no, but I can just think of games that came out later that used the same type of mechanic.
Well, what I was going to say is that I would have liked Deus Ex Human Revolution a lot more if there was less combat.
Right.
I've gotten to the point now where it's I don't need to have just onslaughts of frivolous combat just for the sake of it being in a game. I don't mind just fucking walking around and learning shit about the world I'm in and just enjoying a story.
Well, people want action games. That's what kind of sucks about today's standards.
But you don't always need a game to be an action game. A game can literally just be a story with you have some things happen here or there, but I think I haven't played a game in a while that was no action really at all. It was more just learning what's happening in the world around you. I can't even think of one. Really.
Yeah.
This actually brings me back to, and this is an old conversation for an old game. This brings me back to one of my problems with a game that I actually still like. Splinter Cell Conviction is a really good...
How many times can we say Splinter Cell Conviction in an episode?
It's a really good third-person shooter, but the problem is that it breaks from the other games in the series, which all allowed you to do what you're saying, to look around, explore the world, find things, read things, Be
a spy.
Be a spy.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell Conviction gives you the mark and execute system, which you activate by getting adrenaline by melee killing people. Does any of that shit sound like a stealth game to you?
No. Well, because the thing is okay, so every game has been built on the property of something needs to be destroyed in order to continue.
Yeah.
I mean, Pac-Man, you have to eat ghosts. Combat, you have to kill another tank. Pong, you have to knock the ball past the other guy.
You have to get the opponent to not hit the ball back.
Yeah, there's always a sense of you have to destroy whatever's in front of you to progress, and that I don't need that all the time. Depending on the game setting, but with Murdered Soul Suspect, if they never incorporated this demon wedgie mini game you have to play to kill them, literally that's all it is. And that is one gripe I've had about it, because I've really been enjoying it so far. But the gripe I had was, so there's this the whole game takes place in Salem, Massachusetts, right?
Okay.
And the one cool thing is while you're going through the world, you do get these random so there's visions in time that are broken between your period of time and the actual Salem witch trials.
Like the man who fell to Earth.
Yeah. But
David Bowie.
Yeah.
David Bowie.
And then at the end, he just takes off a wig.
Yeah. But
put on a hat.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
I saw that movie when I was 13. It was 4 o'clock in the morning on some random channel.
It was Rip Torn's Penis, the movie.
No, that would be Labyrinth.
No, that's David Bowie's penis.
Oh,
That's David Bowie's crotch.
Rick Torn's penis was in the Man Who Fell to Earth.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so you get like, it does give it like this kind of really cool like aspect of like the world you're in, but so there's this little girl that's telling you about purgatory because you can't go home until you can't go across the bridge, they call it, until you like solve what's left of your problems on Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
So she's this little girl and she kind of gives you like your first like little taste of, oh, this is how you do this is how you do that, and gives you like your little tutorial. There's no tutorial about how to wedgie a demon.
I remember the girl who gave me a tutorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so
I get it.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so she gives you a tutorial with everything else, but you just see this demon.
Yeah.
And it's just like, here's a prompt, do this, and it's like, oh, fuck. Okay, well, good thing my guy learned how to do that out of nowhere. Like, that was a little ball drop that I didn't really expect, like when I was 12.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what it is. Something feels like it's changing inside of me.
I'm falling apart. Is this what lepers are like? Is it gonna hit my knee? No, you have 60 years before that happens. But anyway, but yeah. So if they took that element out, it would be completely like a different game because that whole element is like that combat element should be just not there. Like because you can hide from the demons and like these little like ghost specter things that are out there.
Okay.
And the game's creepy as fuck too because there's just other ghosts in purgatory just stuck in these places.
Yeah.
And like you'll walk down a hallway and there'll be like a little girl playing on her bed and like some old guy creeping on her, and then they'll just vanish when you get into a certain room, and it's just like it's a really eerie game.
Okay.
But it's a lot of fun.
That kind of sounds like the NPCs you deal with in Dark Souls. Like they're just random people. They don't look like they're doing anything, but they have really important stories with the main quest. Like,
well, some of these don't have important stories, but some of them you meet like if they're fully silhouetted out.
Yeah.
And they're like if they're like a glowing NPC, then you can communicate with them. But if they're just like a hollow, like
it lets you know.
Yeah, they're like a decal that you kind of see wiggling in the corner, and then they vanish.
Yeah, where in Dark Souls, if there's an NPC just standing there, you can probably talk to them, or they sell something because everyone else will attack you if they're in the game. And every single person you talk to, they have some really cryptic, depressing ass story. Or if they're just crazy, and then like 4/5 of every single NPC that you're going to interact with, like creepily laughs at the end of their statement.
Oh wow!
And it is not even in the same tone as they were talking. Like it's completely
different.
different.
Start playing that.
It's fun. It's
but
fun. It was on gold. I don't know. I think it isn't anymore. But if you have Xbox, do it. It was for free.
I bought it on PlayStation 3. And I
bought it for PC for like $6 and some change. So I got 2 copies of it. I'm content.
That's something I'm still hoping that Xbox games with gold can start fucking actually doing some good shit. Not giving you games that are like fucking 5 to 6 years old.
I got Sleeping Dogs off games with gold.
After you paid for it.
Yeah.
And after I did.
Paid for it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when they released Sleeping Dogs, it was like still like it was less than a year old, I think.
Well,
it's not an old game.
Yeah, it failed. That game didn't do good.
PlayStation Plus, they gave me BioShock Infinite 3 or 4 months after it came out for free, and Borderlands 2 like 3 or 4 months after it came out.
That was fair. Their Gearbox's profits, well, I guess sales, I should say, not profits, on Borderlands 2 was quite successful. That's why they were able to continue and offer so much free crap, which just made it, I guess, more enticing would be the better way to put it. I'm a fan. I want to be biased when I talk about it. I love the fucking game, but they definitely marketed, and they gave the players they gave the players stuff constantly. Like that was cool. They stayed involved with the community. That's something I think is important. And there's all these action game junkies out nowadays that just want a shooter or Gears of War / God of War type of game.
Sometimes there's
still a time and place for that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, sometimes listening to your community is like the worst thing you can do.
I know.
Right.
That's why I have to say that carefully.
Yeah, because like sometimes it's the parent thing where it's like it might be what you want, but it's not what's best for you.
Yeah.
Because what the 5 neckbeards want as opposed to everyone else who wants to play the game. Those 5 neckbeards who have learned how to manipulate the game in an extensive way, especially in a competitive game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Borderlands isn't competitive, but say in a competitive game.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is awesome, I love this part now, because my macro blah blah can do this now, and I'm jizzing on my pants, and like, they have that.
It actually breaks the sequence where normally I would take less damage, but because I have these abilities stacked, I actually take even more or less damage.
Yeah. But now me, who could take the time to learn that shit, or average Joe who picks up the game because they just want to play the game, they're going to eat shit because of these people who live on their community blogs for it, and random guys are going to be like, I don't understand this shit. Yeah. It's like, well, I don't know. I think community feedback is good, but letting the community dictate what happens with the game is not the best thing all the time.
Well, yeah, because then it turns into crap.
Fans are not game designers.
No,
fans
there's a reason why they're not.
Yeah. Because, again, fans, you don't know what's best for you.
Fans think they know what they want.
Yeah, and then when they get it, it's not as good as they want it to.
Yeah.
They will approach designers
Duke Nukem
with... What do you mean?
I mean, it was so long in development, it had, like, all of this...
You're talking about Forever, right?
I know, it was a shitty game to a point.
Right, I don't think that fan feedback had much to do with it. I think...
But no, I'm saying, like, when I was saying, like, what's you think is good for you, and, you know, the...
Yeah.
You said about how...
Companies, listening to the communities, right.
Well, listen to the communities, when that game just should have just never came out.
Well, what he's getting at is, basically, compared to what I was saying, games that people expected to make and they were waiting to get made.
Well, like you said, the game designers, you're a fan of a game, you're not a game designer.
Yeah.
So
when the next one comes out and it turns out to not be anything that you expected and you don't like it, it just ruins it.
I find that more commonly what happens is that fans will have they will have all these specific expectations of a game. They'll say they better not take away this, they better not take away this, they better leave this untouched, they better leave that untouched. Then it comes out and they're bored with it because it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the Zelda problem.
Yeah.
Familiarity is a very like tricky thing, because if you've noticed, ever since fucking say Halo 2, ever since Halo 2, every shooter had the exact same control scheme.
Yes.
Because of familiarity.
And
well, not just that, like, just the control scheme. This is jump, this is reload, this is melee.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Always.
And Call of Duty comes out, Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And then every game copies that button setup.
Everyone who's played this game can play every single one of these other games.
Because familiarity is the downfall of fucking some things. Like, you know, if I know I pick up a fighting game and I can do a quarter circle motion and a punch, it's familiarity, but it's not like you didn't try to do anything different. You just really want to make sure that everyone can play your game.
Wasn't it you telling me about Wolfenstein where the bumpers were actually tilt? Was it Wolfenstein?
Yeah, it's Wolfenstein: The New Order, and
we talk about this every episode.
The tilt feature.
The New Order is so tits.
It is.
So
It's an amazing game.
Best shooter I've played all year so far.
It's the best shooter I've played this decade so far. But yeah, it has a bumper that is lean, and it allows you to basically it's such a simple change, but it adds so much to every firefight because it gives the player just another dimension of input.
Being able to go prone under a table is the sweetest thing in like a second. Like, literally it's just like, hold this button, drop, taking out ankles, like that guy from Oz who sliced that guy's Achilles tendons. Pop back up, pop back down, pop to the left, pop to the right.
Yeah.
It's so smooth.
Yeah, I think
butter sauce smooth.
Fear had a tilt system, didn't it?
It wasn't like that.
It was I can peek.
Yes,
it's a peek system.
Exactly.
A peek system versus a full tilt prone up system. Like Wolfenstein
it was like playing.
That was something new and like total nail on the head for the way they executed it.
Again, I don't know if it's the first game to have ever done it like that.
Not the first game, but it did it so fucking good. Fluid. Yeah.
Not cool with them binding
the cover pop thing.
Yeah,
you're always mad about those things.
I am mad about those things. I hate them in every single game I come across it in because it's just like, look, I want to do one thing, but because this shares a button with another feature, I'm going to accidentally do this other thing from time to time. Like when you're aiming, and that's the thing is that they bind popping out from behind cover to aiming.
Yeah.
So if I am aiming and I am moving and something walks in front of my face, BJ's gonna go, ah, what a seizure!
Although, give them credit, they did utilize...
Fuck, a lamppost! Better get out from behind it!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta give them credit, though, because they did map, like, every button usefully on that game.
They did.
Like,
but if you... Well,
that's the only button I would say didn't really get the excellent treatment that all the
and
other
they
ones
don't
did.
even need a pop-out because they have the tilt.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, if you're holding both, if you're holding the trigger and the bumper at the same time, you can do the tilt and it won't force the pop-out. Okay. I've told you that.
Yeah, but that's more work to do less.
Oh, yeah.
When all they had to do was not combine these two features, and you would have the same amount of freedom.
Oh, I know. I don't like getting stuck to cover either. Like, except a game where you have to, like Gears or something like that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, third-person shooters do cover systems really well, but first-person shooters, they don't.
There's no need. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I'm looking at you, Killzone. 2, yes, and I hate you for bringing all your shit into Killzone 3, because Killzone 3 is way better than you fucking deserve, you asshole. But
pointing out my game collection.
It's right over there. Killzone 2's up on that shelf.
Literally right there.
But yeah, Killzone 2. Fucking, the crouch button is also the cover button. And while that does make a certain amount of sense, and to a degree other games have done that too, and Splinter Cell Conviction does that, although actually...
Twice.
No! Splinter Cell Conviction...
3.
...has a cover button and a crouch button separately, so that game gets around that...
Oh, Conviction?
Yes! That game...
No, he didn't say it. It's still 3.
Oh, okay. Still 3.
That game gets around it because...
Which game?
I fucking hate you. It gets around it because you can choose to go in and out of cover, and that's its own button, and it's not tied to any other function, but there is also a crouch button. But you'll find that you rarely use the crouch button in that game because the cover system is so useful.
Yeah.
But in Killzone... Crouching is in Killzone 2, I should say. Crouching is also the cover button, and this means that if you are crouched and you are moving, you have freedom. However, if you get close enough to a wall, it will snap you to that wall, and the only way to back away from that wall is to let go of crouch, which releases you from cover, which puts your head up. So you can basically.
Oh yeah, damn! It's been so long since I've played that game.
So basically, you can get in a situation where your freedom is compromised, and the only way to get your freedom back is to risk your safety.
Yeah.
Because they did not wisely separate
12 years a slave.
A little bit. Which
terrible.
I will say this: for as many problems as I have with Killzone 2, if you play it back to back with Killzone 3, which gets exhausting.
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, it gets... Killzone 3... I found Killzone 3's palette to be pretty diverse. Killzone 2 is just fucking brown all the way through.
Killzone Shadowfall is like the most colorful Killzone.
God,
like,
I want to see... I want to play that game.
It's really pretty. Especially in the opening sequences. It's like just this big, bright fucking city, and you're like, holy shit, there's stuff! Cool!
And I believe that game also has more CG beard.
There's very little CG beard in that game.
Is it good though? Is it
Gears
good
of War
CG beard?
3 had some decent CG beard.
Oh, 3? I didn't play that. Yeah, Dom,
yeah.
wound up going like super crazy. Yeah. Well,
And Condemned
My wife
2...
is gone!
And Condemned 2 also had... No, that looked kind of shit, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the game looked good, but the beard looked kind of shit.
Yeah, a little bit.
What were we talking about?
CG beards. No.
I always want to talk about CG beard. Oh, you're talking about the game.
Cover systems.
Yeah, because you don't like cover systems.
I don't like I don't like cover systems in first person, and there's. I was going to say that an exception to that would be Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2, because they employ cover systems, but they're also first-person shooters. But you know what the difference is?
What's that?
It's that when you go into cover in Rainbow Six Vegas, the camera goes to third person.
Yeah.
That's kind of cheap.
No, it always did those. And the only reason I think they did that is because when you could, like, remember you could face scan yourself into those games? I think they literally had the third person
You could look at
option
yourself.
there. So you could just be like, hey, that's me. What is me? I was so mad they wouldn't let me photo scan my butt as my face. Because that's what I was trying to do. I was only trying to get a scan of my butt, like, just crack in cheeks. And I wanted that to be my fucking character's face. I even tried drawing a face on my butt. Like, 2 eyes and, like, a smiley face. Still wouldn't register. It was like, I'm not gonna do this. I wanted my butt to be my face in that game. Now, it worked for Facebreaker.
Oh, yeah?
That boxing game?
Yeah.
It totally mapped my butt as a fucking character model. It was...
Oh my god.
It was really cool.
If only there was...
What is with the
I don't
lights?
know. Something, it just browned out, I think.
Is there a thunderstorm or something?
Maybe.
I hope not.
Huh.
I almost browned out.
Yeah.
Oh! And then the dog starts whining.
When you're making a podcast and shit comes out your ass, diarrhea. Diarrhea.
But yeah, no, cover systems have their place. Some of them are really, really helpful, and some of them...
Yeah.
I mean, every game you play now, it's like there has to be one mechanic that one person liked, and now all of a sudden it has to be in everything you play.
Which,
like, every game needs kill streaks if you play online. Every game needs perks if you play online. Like, that's why during that whole time, like, what was it? Halo Reach started doing the perk systems, and I really didn't like it, like the character classes and shit.
Yeah.
Like, the last competitive shooter I had the most fun with in a while has been Unreal Tournament 3. That's the last competitive online game.
I need to play that still.
Yeah.
You had me play a little
Number
bit
3 in
of
the
it.
ranked
Yeah.
leaderboards
Amazing.
for 4 months in that game.
Yeah.
yeah, PS3, I remember that.
Fucking,
Yeah.
I fucking dismantled people.
For those of you who don't know, this guy was the fucking shit.
I was really good at Unreal Tournament 3.
Yeah.
I missed that game so much. Just community's fucking dead.
Wait, are there servers still up? You want?
Yeah,
You,
so
want
yeah,
to
they're still up.
you guys want to start rocking that game?
You
Because that's
don't want
cheap to pick
You
up.
don't want it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Why doesn't he want it?
he doesn't want it.
He's talking about the challenge.
I'm talking about the comp.
Oh.
I'm talking about mine competition.
No! I remember where I was going with my Killzone thing.
Oh, yeah.
But you just reminded me. I was going to say, it's exhausting if you try to play Killzone 2 and 3 back-to-back, or to listen to me talking about Killzone 2 and 3 back-to-back, if I'm reading your face correctly. My apologies. Shit!
Power keeps
Oh,
browning
wow.
out.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
It must be a storm. Go on with your statement. I'm just
He's
going to look
gonna
outside
check
real
about
quick.
Hey, look, it's the little girl from Fear. No.
Oh, hey now.
She's coming out of the television.
Okay.
She wants to put a ring on my finger. This movie's called Marriage.
Okay. But, okay, well, while he's out there, those dogs are going ape shit.
Yeah, I think it must be a thunderstorm.
Yep. So those games back to back, even though while you're playing through Killzone 2, I find it really exhausting when you finish Killzone 3 and the memory of both games is still fresh in your mind. It's more tolerable as a memory after having just played the two games. And in fact, the story of those games is essentially just Downfall.
Yeah. Hey, nope.
Yeah.
The story of those games is essentially Downfall, except it's what Downfall would have been if that film had been from the Allies' perspective.
Okay.
Okay, what did I miss? Because
Basically, you said Mein Kampf, it reminded me of the film Downfall, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's where I was going with Killzone, because the story of Killzone 2 and 3, everything that you see going on in the Helghast Empire is essentially Downfall. Except that Downfall never showed you what the Allies were doing, and Killzone 2 and 3 are from the perspective of the ISA, which are the good guys in this conflict. So it's like Downfall in space with a bit more dimension.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with that.
Okay. Yeah, I had to bring these guys in here because they don't do well in storms.
Yeah.
So
as much as I don't like Killzone 2 on its own, Killzone 3 makes Killzone 2 a little bit better by association.
yeah,
Okay. Fair enough.
I'll give you that. Yeah, because like Killzone 3, I didn't like just because it ended abruptly, and it just felt like you didn't accomplish anything. Like you spent a whole trilogy hoping that a game with no story had an ending that was actually good.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Killzone 2 was the only one that really didn't have a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a story, like, loosely based there. Like, Killzone 1 had the most story out of all the games.
Killzone 3 also had a hell of a lot of story going on. We have them surviving on the Helgen homeworld. You had all of this, like, weird politics going in within the Helgen Empire, which is which is basically where the game turns into Downfall, the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have, like, more to say other than I think it has a story, whether you do or don't.
I mean, it's... it actually is a good representation of the human condition. But no, it could have more. It could have ended fuller, is what I'm saying. Like, it was just, well, go home. Like, if they gave me
spoiler alert.
No, I know. Spoiler alert for the ending of this game. If it, I would have felt like
I wish I had a gong for every single time we said spoiler alert. Gong.
I felt the same as if, like, I had beaten a game in an arcade and it brought up the "game over, thanks for playing, real winners don't do drugs" logo. And I would have felt like
satisfied.
more, I would have felt more satisfied at that.
It's over.
Because it was just like, spoiler alert. Fuck, I hate doing that, man. Anyway.
Gong.
Bong. It's like, well, we did this. We're kind of shitty for doing it. We're gonna have to live with ourselves. And then it's like, lost in space. Like, there's no fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? There's
resolution?
There's no resolution at the end. It's just like, well, this is it. It's shitty. Bye.
Yeah, so it's like the Lost in Space movie, except without Joey from Friends.
It is kind of the resolution, like, to a point, if that's all you wanted.
I mean, the entire conflict
here's where it comes down to the gamers being not game designers, but I wanted more of an ending.
I wanted an ending.
I wanted a fuller ending. It just felt like very, like, there you go.
I freak you out? Sorry.
Because, see, when I think of Killzone 3, and when I think of its ending, I think of, like, the entire, like, half hour that led up to it. The fight on the space station, I think of, everything
that led up to it.
I think of Stahl killing the, basically, I think of the betrayal that goes on at the end, which is, again,
well, this is all
so much of Downfall.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, that's all with inward story, but you don't see how, like, you don't get a good wrap-up, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying if you take it from that point, if you take it from the betrayal to them detonating the Petrosite, you have Stahl had been warned that what he was doing was bad for the people of Helgen, and then you had the ISA that's struggling to rush.
I know. I'm saying this was all in game, like during your journey through the game. This was all story that you saw was going on, and I guess was.
But there was also a lot of it was also told in cutscene as well.
Yeah, it was all. Yeah. So, but because when I'm playing through a game, I forget a lot of what's going on because I don't play my games straight through all the time. Like, I pick them up after periods of time or whatever. So getting a little, like, wrap up. He doesn't have a PS3, so he has no way to weigh in on the conversation.
I've never played these games. I'm doing a dance.
Okay. But like, sometimes I'd like there to be, like, just, like, more. I want there to be more to the end of the game than, like, all the meat being throughout the game is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Like, if the game had a fuller ending, I would have felt better instead of just like, well, pigs in space, game's over.
I mean, next time you play through Killzone 3, try and see if you can like knock it out.
Well, because a lot of that stuff that you're talking about just seemed really like lost in translation. Like, there's just so much shit going on, like, throughout the game. It's like it's trying to put it, like, when the dialogue's happening while you're playing, like, I hate that. Like, I hate being able to pay attention while I'm playing.
The things that I just was talking about...
No, those are all cutscenes,
none of what I was talking about was in-game stuff.
Yeah.
It was
I'm saying, like, not that in general. There are games that I've played where, like, you get a lot of dialogue about something while you're in the middle of doing a task. And I'm not paying attention to you. You know, it's like, I'm not paying attention to the person talking. that's trying to give me information.
Now,
one of the things I hated about Borderlands.
I'm fine with that in gameplay as long as I'm not getting shot at. Because if you try to tell me a story while I'm getting shot at, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah, I mean, like Last of Us did it well, where they were like, oh, we're in an open space now, we're gonna just kind of have a conversation because we're just walking from point A to point B, and there's nothing that's gonna happen. But
I think with Borderlands, it worked well because a lot of it was just bullshit anyway. So
right, but I'm saying important stuff. If it's bullshit, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and the important stuff that
not
that
like make sure you get to this thing that isn't highlighted on your map, so you know where you're going. Yeah,
all the stuff that they do like dialogue wise while you're playing, and obviously blowing shit up and making some noise. You don't need to hear it because the stuff they want you to hear is the moments where you're at Sanctuary. You're nobody to attack you. You got time to listen. There's not a lot of games that I want to play that really have that kind of system, but I agree with what you're saying. Unlike, imagine what if they made like another Half-Life where, I love it for what it does, but all the cinematic scenes are actually an interactive gameplay, so you could be distracted, like, ooh, I can pick this thing up, and blah 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 blah. I'd throw it and make a lot of noise. What did you just say? You can't go back. You can load your previous save and then have to listen to it again, but you can't skip it. You gotta deal with it. You just gotta fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to talk about Half-Life for 3 episodes after this one.
But
we brought it up twice.
It was put up on the Android Marketplace. I've been playing it on the NVIDIA Shield. Good experience so far. Good experience. I'm now noticing with larger open world environment style, like the fight with the helicopter.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, you fight a helicopter.
Bit of frame rate.
It's been out for 10 years.
A bit of frame rate drop.
It was his sled!
A lot of shit going on, so it makes sense. Even with the Tegra 4 processor, it runs well. I'm ignoring you. I'm talking about game series.
He was Luke's father! No. I just tune out Half-Life talk. That's all.
I mean,
I've never played this game before.
I'm gonna do a dance because I'm really bored. The system itself is awesome. I'm still giggling over this piece of hardware, man.
The NVIDIA?
The Shield, yeah. It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
It's a console pooper. That's all it is. It's
I can poop while I play my game.
Yeah, that's why I like the Vita so much.
I walk back in the living room. It's a controller for the game I'm playing on my computer. Awesome. Yeah. So I never miss a minute unless someone's using my internet and there's a like a spike in my bandwidth or I go out of range. With Half-Life 2 though, it's a game. It's not. I don't need to stream it. It's on the system. So I think that's where some of the issues come into play.
Oh, there's a doggy in here.
Yep.
You just noticed?
Yes, I really just noticed.
I haven't been holding my hand on your lap. You had to have noticed that there was some weight on your knee.
What if it just didn't bother me?
This guy. Anyway,
I'm just so comfortable around you.
Yeah. And we're gonna get like 500 million more views because of a cute dog in the video.
Yep.
People are gonna make like slash fiction of us.
Oh no, dude!
I'm gonna write slash fiction of us and anonymously post it and pretend it wasn't me.
Dude, have you seen like the slash fiction they've made about characters on Community?
What? No.
Oh, dude, it's terrible. Like Donald Glover's character and the guy that plays the Indian guy. I can't remember their names. Ahmed.
Yeah. No, I don't. No,
I can't remember his real name. That's his character's name, not his real name. Not racist.
Because I know one of his characters is Randy with 8 A's specifically.
But they had like
that's one of his characters.
It's a really fun show. But there's like all this fan fiction out there of them like fucking, and it's so creepy.
Yeah,
so creepy.
Yeah, fan fiction is just a bad area to dwell into. Like if you delve into fan fiction, you're gonna run into a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Or really awesome shit, and that's where it gets tempting.
Yeah, all the Animaniacs YIF stuff I've seen has been really weird.
It's funny, but I want to say maybe like 10 years ago, I wrote
Twisted Metal fanfic.
Yeah, I wrote a Twisted Metal fanfic.
This, yeah.
It was like 13 chapters long.
Yeah.
I put a lot of work into that. Like I had just finished reading Stephen King's The Stand at the time.
Okay.
And then
it's all about how Sweet Tooth got that sweet tooth. You know what I'm saying? That fire didn't come from normal means. That was an STD.
Fire.
But yeah, so I don't know. I sort of wanted to bring that sort of spirit of like just ominous old world evil, and then put that into Twisted Metal Black.
Yeah. Well, that was a game where I was intrigued to play as each character for those little cutscenes and for the endings.
Yeah.
That was really cool, and it was different. Everything was different if you beat the game with a certain character. Kind of like with Mortal Kombat 2, I think. If you would wait long enough, it would give you some background info. On the characters, and then later in the series, they started doing like alternate endings where each character had their ending. I really, really like that.
That was cool, except for
Street Fighter had it,
except for Mortal Kombat 4. The way they did it was really shitty.
I never wanted to play that game.
I had it on N64, and I used to play it in the arcade at Rinaldi's all the time.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But
speaking of arcades, though, I definitely am considering a road trip to the West Coast and to that place that we were talking about. That customer was talking to us about at work.
Galloping Ghost.
Galloping Ghost. With the Primal Rage 2 thing.
I'm sure there's some on the East Coast we could hit up.
Yeah,
because I didn't really like Primal Rage that much when I was younger.
Well, I mean come on, the way that the guy was describing it to us, it's the game that never really made it, but there was a working ROM, like a cabinet that was made.
Yeah.
And I think he said there's only like 2 buttons that worked, and there's all these intricate combo systems. It was a crazy experience because it's an unfinished game and it's free to play.
I really want to look that up because it
sounds
like bullshit.
I know.
Yeah. It does kind of sound like an urban legend.
It sounds
like it is there, and people
bullshit.
do play it, but it just seems like the origins of it, like someone's just getting immensely trolled.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what I think. I don't know. It's like when it comes to like
that Kill Switch creepypasta.
Oh yeah.
The Russian game that deletes itself from your computer.
Yeah. Well, there's like a lot of games that you like.
Creepypastas.
This is the thing. It's like with the technology we have now, like you can fucking like just shit out a fucking like game and say that this was made by so and so, and then find out years later that it's all fucking fake.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there's guys still making like NES cartridges of games. There's the Halo 2600?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Halo cartridge of Halo, the first game.
Yeah.
On a Atari cartridge for the 2600. And you can buy it. And you can put it in your system, and it works.
It's an Atari game. It's not like not like they actually put Halo in it.
No way.
It's that they made a 2600 game that was a Halo game.
If they tried to port Halo the way it is to the Atari, it would explode like a neutron star.
Well,
excuse you.
One thing I was thinking about a few years back was wanting to make like Super Nintendo style games and just see if I can manufacture a Super Nintendo cartridge. Yeah. You were mentioning the Retron earlier, the Retron 5. With that being new and HDMI capable, what if companies were to go take a step back and start making those games again?
It's possible, and I mean,
it's so cool.
Funny thing is, there's lots of homebrews that still put stuff out there. There was this game I was reading about. I can't remember.
Retro City Rampage was on a cartridge originally.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would buy that.
Yeah, it was an 8-bit NES cartridge of that game that you can buy.
Because that kind of adds to the experience.
The thing was that guy was making Grand Theft Nintendo originally.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Retro City Ransom is just that game put on there. Sorry. Fuck you, Tommy. But we're gonna have to wrap this up in a minute. But yeah, because the guy was originally making NES carts of his version of Grand Theft Nintendo, and he had gotten like in all this trouble because of like all the parody and like the licensing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it got bought by someone, and they were like, "Hey, let's just put the game out and just edit a little bit." And apparently, the guy like really stood his ground, and they like released it almost completely unedited.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But it's a really fun game. Like, because I like retro style games. I like games that are like trying to do like throwback stuff, but like I feel like nowadays it's done so cheaply that they're like, all we need is an 8-bit and we'll sell it.
Yeah.
All we need is a 32-bit.
You want something more authentic.
Yeah, it's like, don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Like, I understand that like it's a lot cheaper to make a game that way, and you can still convey your message and your story in like a really immaculate way in that setting, because games did it 25 years ago. They can still do it now, but it just seems like some companies and some indies are doing it just for the sake of saying, oh man, we can make a quick buck because people are going to buy it because being retro is so fucking cool right now.
And it'll make me money. Yeah, that's part of the mentality.
And then some of those games have microtransactions loaded to the fucking gills with it.
Yeah.
I really fucking hate when I hear people like misuse the word 8-bit when they mean to say pixelated.
Yeah, because it's not... No.
It's like, no, it's blocky looking, but that's not 8-bit. There's way too many fucking colors on screen for there to be fucking 8-bit.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yep, just pixelated. Yeah, because that's something that, like, going back to my old idea about making Super Nintendo games, pushing the system to its full potential, and what if, like, I don't know, I can't say I want to do it or I can do it. What if somebody went over a bunch of old school games and overhauled them? Like, so imagine Capcom releases another version of Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo, but it's everything it could possibly be. There's no spare room on the ROM. This is as big of a game as it could possibly be. So much extra shit. Like, that would be... And, a more beautiful game, too. Go back over, get artists to go
Wait, to make it still run on the original hardware, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
That'd be cool. I've always had a theory...
They did that with Resident Evil 2 on N64. It's a double... It's double pack cart.
Yeah.
So that it was able to, like, run properly. Or run both scenarios.
Yeah.
I always had a theory that if they tried really hard, they could have gotten the first Unreal to run on an N64.
That would have worked.
It would have worked. It's a long fucking game that would have really pushed the system to its absolute fullest.
That could run on PlayStation really well, too.
It could.
Yeah.
I don't know about really well. And the reason I say that, I mean, it would take...
I think I know what you're
move
going
like
to
a
say.
boat.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
There was a port of Deus Ex that was on the PS2, and it was a decent port of the game. Well, no, I should say it was actually not a very good port of the game. It's just that it's Deus Ex. You really can't hurt it that much.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I forget where I'm going.
Okay. Well...
Didn't try!
Oh, no, I mean, ever since I hooked up my PlayStation again, I just want to go back in time. I want to go back and just go into my closet and pull out all these old games and start playing them again to really get a full appreciation and do all the shit that I miss. That I obviously miss these old games.
Yeah.
It's a real shame we're not going to live forever.
I know.
Yeah.
Next episode, we're going to have cybernetic bodies.
The air's not dead, the mood was just killed.
According to science, young mice blood makes you younger.
No, what? No? I don't think so.
No, it's young mice blood rejuvenates some cells in older mice.
Oh.
Yeah.
So eat the blood of the young.
It means that just eat a bunch of baby mice. It's good for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You go to the supermarket to get freshly squeezed
if snakes can do it.
mouse child blood.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, we're gonna have to, wrap this up. But the idea for the show next time, not for the podcast, but we're gonna hopefully have us sitting down, playing games, and copying pretty much what everyone else does on YouTube.
Having fun on YouTube.
Having fun on YouTube.
We don't gotta be original, we just gotta be more fun.
Yeah, and just have ridiculous conversations.
We're not journalists, we're entertainers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
with maybe a little bit of exceptionally unprofessional journalism added into the mix. Because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
We have opinions.
We're gonna be enter-fraternalists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he used the big word I didn't understand.
I don't think I got it all. How many syllables was it?
I think it was like 6.
You used too many symbols in that, man. Drum roll, please.
Yeah, but that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
If you want to offer suggestions on what you'd like to see us play, go ahead and try, but I'm not sure if we'll necessarily listen.
No,
or have it, although odds are good that we might.
We might have it. If the camera were to take a spin around in this room alone.
There are strong odds that if something's mentioned, I have it here.
Because if you don't have it, I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah.
And for everything else, there's a chance that I don't have it. Because I more than likely didn't buy it.
With our collections combined, we are Captain Hoarders!
Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can just see all the Power Rangers now. It's like regret, misery, sadness, broken heart, like
poor decision making,
abuse as a child, and they all
early alcoholism. Why do you wear 2 rings? I fucked up real bad.
Gaia gave you 2 for fucking up that much.
Yeah.
Captain Hoarder just doesn't even fly out. He has to maneuver his way through a bunch of tall trash. Just
But it's all console boxes.
It's all
console boxes
and like ripped up cases.
Yeah.
For like games and stacks of Nintendo Power from like 1980 to 1999.
Yep.
And he's just like maneuvering around, and he's like, "I'm here to make sure that I can go back to sleep." And he just goes back.
He'll
to
have
bed.
like a spinning kick attack where he'll like turn around, put his leg up, and like put it in your fist. Time to use getting to the kitchen.
Yeah. Crap! I knocked over my collector's edition box.
Oh, no. That's the way he gets fucked with.
Man.
Yep.
Thunderstorm say that.
Fuck!
Balling.
Alright, so we're done. Thanks for
tweeted.
watching. We'll be back on in a few weeks. Hopefully one of these gaming episodes will be on.
Yes.
You'll find out. There's not really any more E3 coverage that I give a damn about talking about. So whatever's new,
we procrastinated for too long.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
So now go find that movie that basically has the exact same premise as that game you're talking about, where you're dead.
Watch Downfall. In fact, watch it with your children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what was that movie? It was basically the same exact premise as the game you're talking about, where you're dead and you're solving your own murder.
I don't know.
There was a movie.
Probably. But anyway.
Lots of them. Lovely Bones.
At a time.
Bones? Yeah, probably.
So I'm Jordo.
I'm Jared.
And I'm handsome.
This is Stewie. Adios.
Bye.